All right. So thank you guys for agreeing to participate in this today. This has been one of the challenges many of our HLB firms have been asking about around the globe is understanding the unique accounting, tax, and regulations as they travel from country to country, as we have clients looking to do business in the US, in the UK, in France, in Italy, and in Germany. And we're always challenged with those questions. And quite frankly, it's different from country to country. And sometimes we take it for granted, like I live in the US, and I take it for granted that the rules are going to be the same, whether I'm in Germany, whether I'm in the UK, whether I'm in Italy, no matter where it may be. So our clients really need to have a better understanding. So we put this series together in order to develop a much better understanding. Okay, so next up is Laurent, and we're going to talk a little bit about doing business in France. And so talk about some of the challenges. We have a client, regardless of where that client may be, they decide to open up a sales arm. They decide to open up an entity in France. So can you tell us from a high level what that process is like and what your firm can help with?
Hello, Jim. Yes, this is a very good point. When a client calls me, most of the time they say to me, okay, Laurent, we have a potential very good employee in France. It will be our first employee and we need to sign the work contract immediately. Step one.
Yesterday.
Step one, I say to the client, we have to settle a French entity most of the time. And unfortunately, it's not like in the UK. I cannot settle an entity in 24 hours. But France is not a terrible country, and we can manage it. We can manage it in something like 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yes, we need something like 3 weeks. This is something that is acceptable for this French employees.
So, Laurent, this is really something that our clients need to plan for. Our clients really can't do this. They decide to let us know on a Friday that they're doing business in France on a Monday. They need to really plan this process out. That's one thing that I've heard that is different for France than many other countries.
Yes, for sure. You have to anticipate a little bit. I think that at the end on the French market, 3 weeks it's really acceptable. But if you want to do it in 3 weeks, you had to follow some steps. The big point in France, in many European countries, is the bank account. So what we do within HLB France is that we put the share capital on an escrow account of a lawyer or of a French notary. Then we settle the company with this escrow account. And as soon as the company is settled, so we have got a French number, identification number, we can open then a bank account. It's not compulsory to have a bank account in France, but to do business on a daily basis, you need one. So it's much easier and much more efficient to first settle the company and then to open a bank account in France on the basis of the entity that is already settled.
So talk a little bit. I have a corporation. Our client has a corporation already in existence in another country. Can they utilize that existing corporation to do business in France, or do we have to create a new entity?
It depends on what you want to do in France and the level of the business you want to develop in France. You can create a branch in France or to settle a legal entity in France. At the end, it's more a tax aspect, depending on your tax strategy and also how you want to develop the businesses in France.
Could you talk a little bit about the tax structure in France? Could you talk a little bit, is there just one level of tax on the entity, on the corporation? Are there different taxes depending on where they go in France, into what cities they may enter into France? Talk a little bit about, are there other types of taxes, maybe employment-related taxes, VAT taxes, things like that that our clients need to be aware of?
Okay. The French environment can be a little bit complex. We have got corporate income tax return, VAT, of course, in France, business tax, and we have also various taxes. The key point, from a foreign perspective, it can appear quite complex, but if you go to HLB France, to a CPA that is used to manage international business, it is not so complicated because we are used to explain to foreign clients how to manage it. And this is at the end quite straightforward. Of course, if this client goes to a French expert comptable that is used to manage only French clients, at the end, he will never be able to explain how to manage it in France to a foreign client.
So picking the right firm. Obviously, we're using one of our HLB affiliated firms in France. I would assume all of our HLB affiliated firms in France have the capabilities that you have, or no?
Yes, we have. In France, we have a kind of one-stop shop for these international clients. I can give you one example. In France, what is complicated is pension funds and healthcare insurance. You have to pay that to your employees. If you are you come from the UK, it can seem complex, but we can propose this service internally. We can assist the client, and we can explain to the client how to sign the best contract, and we assist them.
Excellent. So that gives rise to a question about maybe I have a client that is looking to hire a sales force in France. Could you help with an understanding around human resources? Talk about some of the things that our client would need to be aware of that maybe is unique to France from some other countries.
Yes, for sure, we are able to assist. We have some standard answers that we give immediately to the client in order for the client to understand the French environment. For example, the work contract. It's very important in France, the work contract. It should be in French. So we are able to have the work contract translated from French, translated in English, and we propose some standard template to the clients. So this is, if you go to the good French CPA that is used to propose international services, this is quite straightforward.
So you keep really stressing that. So, I mean, obviously our clients need to be utilizing the HLB network firms because they have a focus on international. They understand the international space. You touched on a little bit uniqueness within France, cultural differences. And there are tremendous cultural differences depending on the countries that our clients may be setting up businesses in. Could you talk about some of the unique cultural differences that may exist in France that don't exist elsewhere when it comes to our clients setting up business?
Jim, I have an example for you.
Okay.
When a US client come to France, as soon as he has called me and other suppliers in France, he asked to sign NDA documents to all the suppliers.
So why sign these non-disclosure agreements?
So in France, in the US, it's very standard. It's very common. In France, it's less common. But suppliers like my firm, we are used to sign such documents, so we accept it. But most of the time, a US client that arrive in France say, okay, if one day there is an issue, we would like that the US court will be applicable. And if it's something that we have to explain, that, okay, the service will be done in France, the entity will be a French entity. My team who will work on this operation is based in France. So I really need, for insurance purposes, that if one day there is an issue, the French court will be applicable. So this is something that I have to explain to my US clients.
Excellent, Laurent. I mean, you really point out some unique differences that we need to explain to our clients well in advance. I mean, what I just learned about doing business in France, we have to plan it. It has to be planned out well in advance, talking about the entity, getting the entity set up, and then even explaining some of the cultural differences that may exist, some of the other things that we may need to do from a statutory perspective that we don't need to do in other countries.
Exactly. This is it.
So are there any statutory audit requirements around the tax process at all? Is every company that does business in France required to have an audit?
It depends on the criteria and the size of the company.
Okay.
Only, if I make it very simple, only companies with more than 10 million euro of turnover need what we call in French legal auditor, commissaire aux comptes.
Okay, so that's high level, but obviously if they want the details, they want the uniqueness, they can reach out to you to be able to do that.
Exactly.
Okay. One final question. Talk about, I keep asking this question about accounting systems. What is the accounting system that you see most prevalent in France, used by your small business clients?
Okay. I have a story for you.
Okay.
QuickBooks.
QuickBooks.
They tried to come to France.
What happened?
They spent a lot of money in France. And last year they decided to go out of France.
Wow.
Because the French system is very specific.
Okay.
The market was not big enough for them.
So what system is used by a lot of small businesses in France?
In fact, at the end, it's a lot of French system,
Okay.
but that are fully compliant with
Okay.
SAP, with Oracle,
Sure.
with QuickBooks, etc. So from at my firm, for example, I am used to manage clients that do the bookkeeping on SAP, on
Okay.
QuickBooks, on Oracle, for example. Okay. I take the data and I put it on my French system.
Okay. All right. So that this way, again, in your country, your firm is able to be that go-between, the intermediary between the system that they are currently using and maybe the system that they are using in their home countries. Correct?
Exactly. To be at the end French GAAP compliant.
Okay. Which that's what they're going to rely upon you for.
Exactly.
All right, Laurent. Thank you for sharing the knowledge about doing business in France.
Thank you, Jim.
I want to thank really everyone, and not from the U.S. Luca from Italy, Marcus from Germany, Laurent from France, and Andrew from the U.K. About really helping to educate all of us about the uniqueness of doing business in those countries. We have to really make sure our clients don't have expectations this can be done instantaneously, that we need to plan this in advance. Sometimes it could take a number of weeks to do it properly, to better understand it. But the common message that I hear in every single country is that for the most part, our HLB firms in those countries could be a one-stop shop to coordinate and facilitate the entire process. So we should be reaching out to you when our clients have a desire to do business in each of those countries. But the thing is, we need to be doing it well in advance. Guys, thank you so much for all the time that you spent doing this. Thanks.